Welcome into the Sports Buffoons podcast. There, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the world, welcome on in back again to the Sports Buffoons podcast. Not so much the studios. Only Tanner is at the main base right now, and we got JG and I at the house. So what's going on, Phyllis?
What up? What up?
Not a lot, man. We're gonna call this the Noro show.
The Noro show.
The Noro show. We got to stay within 6 feet. You have to stay 6 feet apart from each other.
The norovirus is known for making you shit yourself, kind of like the Chiefs did in the Super Bowl. So I guess that makes sense for this week.
I think we're 6 feet apart, but we should actually probably wear a mask on the show too, if you want to know the truth.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. This is perfect for what everyone wanted to do in 2020 and 2021. And if you're vaccinated, then you got to be separated. So that's just the way it rolled out there, man. But, obviously we're 3 days after the loss of the Super Bowl, of course. That game was pretty rough. How you guys been feeling in the meantime? I mean, you guys over it? You guys feeling okay in the end?
I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm good here.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm over it. Just the initial shock, I think, lasted for a couple of days. Basically just felt like I was shell-shocked, but yeah, I'm kind of feeling like I'm back to normal a little bit.
Yeah, I think the main thing was just disappointment in the way the game unfolded and how poor it was from the very beginning, and just putting up no fight whatsoever, really. So to me, it was just frustration, of course. But the thing is, you look at this Chiefs team, you look at Mahomes and everything, and you could still sit back and tell yourself the dynasty's not over. You know what I mean? Like, just because you lost the Super Bowl and God forbid you finally lose one, after going to three in a row, we can't act like the sky is falling like some talking heads in the national media like to do right now. Pile on the Mahomes hate. But we'll remember that one day in a year or two from now, whenever Mahomes is back on top again. So I'm not too worried. I am kind of irritated, Tanner. And us, we all had our predictions last week on the show, and we were all pretty far off. So none of us blowout, but I mean, we all expected the Chiefs to win by at least 3 or 4 points, I think.
Yeah,
not me. I had the Eagles win. That was my official prediction.
Hey, there you go. You got it right. So it almost worked again.
It almost worked. It almost worked.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm not. I was a little surprised on how shitty it looked. And of course we got garbage time points in there to put us on the over and stuff like that. But yeah, I think I was just more disappointed more in the gameplay than it was the loss itself. Just the way we lost. That's all it is. It's in the end, it's just how we looked. The defense played amazing for what they were given. So that offense really was. That was most bummer, but can't say I'm mad about losing the Super Bowl when we just got done with back-to-back Super Bowls. So.
Right. And yeah, the game plan was not great by any means.
No.
It seemed like the Chiefs were a little stubborn in their ways about what they were calling out there.
Well, they were, if you watch the O-line there, Creed more times than not was assisting Caliendo, and versus like in the season and in the playoffs where he was either holding his own or he was benefiting with Trey, and they were really taking on that much of the line, from that side. So it was being pulled more in assistance to the side there. And I mean, that's where just not on a solid left tackle to move Tooney back in really, really shine through. So,
yeah, Trey Smith was getting beat. I mean, Caliendo was terrible. Really, no one can say they had a great game on the O-line other than I think Creed did okay for what he was working with. But, man, it made you really think about, we got some free agents coming up, and Trey Smith is one of them. We got Nick Bolton, Trey Smith. I mean, one of those guys is going to get the franchise tag, in my opinion. So I'll be curious what goes on with that. But no, in the end of this whole thing, it was another amazing season in the end for the Chiefs to go 15-2 in the regular season, and that one loss at the end doesn't even matter. And then just to get to where they were again, the only team in NFL history to make it to 3 straight Super Bowls. Win 2 and then potentially get the 3-peat in the third. First team to do that once they won 2 in a row.
Yeah.
But so I know I expect us to be right back here again in this same situation a year from now and 2 years from now and so on. So things are going to change with the team, of course. And, Travis Kelce made some comments earlier today, or I think it was this morning or on his podcast.
On the New Heights. Yeah.
Yeah, on New Heights, talking with his brother. And he had some things to say, just kind of where his mind is at towards the game. And you can tell he's putting some thought into the idea of retirement. And, I don't think he's going to retire personally, but
I don't either.
it's one of those things. He said it himself. He wants to make sure he's 100% committed to the game for an entire season again before he says he's coming back. So, how do you guys feel about the idea of Kelce retiring or coming back next year? What are your thoughts on that?
I just don't know if he has anything left in the tank, man. I think he looked great in the Houston game, and then the last two games, it felt like he was kind of a no-show. And so we've never seen that before with Travis Kelce. We've seen it before where he kind of, fades a little bit in the regular season, but I've never seen a Travis Kelce that really didn't do a whole lot, when push came to shove in that AFC Championship and then again in the Super Bowl. To have two consecutive games of him not really showing up, that really concerns me a lot. And obviously the dude wants to play, and he probably will play next year. But just, if he could sort of view himself in the third person and watch his film of himself, he might have second thoughts and just kind of say, you know what, like, I look pretty pathetic out there. And I know everybody wants to come back the next year and prove everybody wrong. But, dude, this guy's banged up. I mean, it's kind of like reminds me of LeBron James, who's played multiple extra seasons in the NBA just because he's played so many playoff games. I think Kelce's kind of the same way. He's played extra full seasons. He's a little bit older, a little bit longer in the tooth than you really think he is because of all of those playoff games that he's had. And he gets beat up, man. I think they said he's had like 10 surgeries at some point in time. And I think honestly, I personally think it's time for him to hang it up. But, that's always been my philosophy in the NFL and to a certain extent in the NBA. I mean, I like to see younger guys play. I think it's a young man's game, whether you're talking about football or basketball. It's a young man's game. And I just think he's so banged up right now. I think that the right decision would be to hang it up, but
you're such an ageist, dude. That's such an ageist.
That's not the way it's probably gonna. I mean, Tay-Tay's got to convince him basically to what I think needs to happen. But if she can't convince him, then obviously he's gonna play.
I don't think there's any influence by Taylor freaking Swift for this decision at all. At all. We don't want to start those rumors. Hey, we don't want to start those rumors, dude. We know there's no influence with that.
When you fall in love, interesting things can happen.
No,
with your
she has her profession. Decisions. She ain't worried about what he's doing on his profession.
Yeah, okay. I think that. Yeah, I mean, think about it. Were they together when he did that Pfizer commercial? Maybe that was. He really listens to what she has to say about that.
Oh yeah, the Pfizer was his downfall, I guess.
No, I mean, for me, like, if you think about with Kelce, I just think he needs to understand he's going to be a role player next year if he's a part of this team. And, let Noah Gray get even more snaps than he got this year, because Noah Gray has proven to be a pretty solid receiving tight end. I mean, the guy does not drop passes. He gets open pretty well. He's not the biggest guy in the world, so he is a little undersized compared to most tight ends these days. But, you got him, and you got Wiley, of course, who was injured throughout this entire season, basically. But still a big athletic tight end that is going to have some development time. So I think that there's some things to work with this team and use Kelce in a way that, if you guys think about other tight ends who had really good careers like Brent Selleck or Jason Witten, just guys like that who were well above average throughout their careers, and Witten's a Hall of Famer, they had guys in the wing. They had tight ends behind them in that last year or two. They were actually getting more of the snaps. And then they were played in the red zone. Basically, Witten, Brent Selleck, those guys were played in the red zone. Selleck had Zach Ertz as his backup, a young Zach Ertz, of course. And, now in Philly, you're kind of seeing – you saw Ertz get pushed out while Dallas Goedert is now, the guy. And, obviously, we're talking about, good tight ends versus the best tight end of all time. But something similar can happen. A 36-year-old Travis Kelce does not need to be out there for 70% of your snaps next year. And Patrick Mahomes is also going to have to learn to live without him. I mean, Kelsey has been extremely durable in his entire career with the Chiefs outside of his rookie season, which is incredible with the amount of beating he's taken game after game. So to me, it's like just if he can take a step back, be a role player, maybe rework the contract a little bit to give us a break, and then we'll still pay him a little bit under the table, you know?
Are you saying he can't be great anymore? Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying,
I'm
Mike?
saying those days are few and far between for Kelsey.
He is totally washed, man. The dude
He
is
might have
washed.
a game here or there next year, Tanner, that's going to be really good. But the days of 5 catches for 70 yards on a consistent basis,
you think
are over
that's
with.
you think that's done, huh? It's amazing.
Those
Look, I think
days
that
are
a lot of this conversation he had today, if you remember him talking pre-Super Bowl on Radio Row and all the interviews, it was pretty much the exact words are pretty much, as long as Andy Reid's there, I'm going to be there, barring crazy injuries. So I think this is a lot of just reflecting on the loss, reflecting how they lost as an offense, and just the fallout from that. I don't believe any retirement talks here. Just the way he really phrased it pre Super Bowl. So, and quite frankly, to me, I think Kelsey can still be Kelsey. May not be your best tight end in the league, but I think he's better than Noah Gray. I think he's better than Wiley. I think he's better than majority of the tight ends in the league still, and he should be out there at that point until he gets injured. So
I think a lot of these players that are near retirement also, the season just ended. We're in February still. Right now is a good time for you to just be patient. And he said kicking that can down the road. Basically, I mean, that's his way of buying time at the moment. Let him think about this. Let him go over the pros and cons. Let him see what he's willing to give to the game. And I know he loves this game because the second he can't play anymore, the second this season goes without him playing on the field is going to bother him. And I think he knows that's going to be the case. And having his brother, Jason Kelce there to lean on about this is probably big as well, because Jason Kelce would have played another year if not for the injuries. It was his body was hurt too bad. He's obviously got his kid and family to take care of. And I think for Jason Kelce's sake, he just wanted to make sure he was healthy right now and going forward for the rest of his life, because he was just too beat up. And I think that, as a center, you're going to get hit every single play. With Travis Kelce, you can save him. You can preserve him throughout the year and just use him in certain situations where you think you're going to need a guy like him. And I think it's going to be a red zone threat at that point.
Yeah, I guess, I don't know. Whatever Andy Reid wants to do in the end, I'm for it.
Yeah.
Whatever he wants to do.
That got me, thinking again about just kind of, we saw the flaws this past game in the Super Bowl with the Chiefs team. And, we obviously have our free agents to think about. So
we saw flaws, but we're also talking about one game.
Yeah. Right, but they're obviously there's something to.
We knew the holes, we knew the flaws to go with, right? But can't just. I mean, if you're going to state flaws, we can go down the whole roster probably at this point after one game.
Sure, but so then my question is, what do you do going forward in the offseason? What are your keys to getting this figured out? Because last time the Chiefs had a game this bad in the Super Bowl against Tampa Bay, where their pass rush was all over Mahomes, the split second he got the snap. Brett Veach went out there and remade the offensive line. I'm not saying
which you saw get beat.
Right. That a good portion of that line that he put together got beat in this last game.
Yeah.
But I think that there's some issues there that can be worked out. Left guard, I think, that the Joe Tooney left tackle thing, I think that's done with. We got to move him back in.
Yeah.
But do you keep Trey Smith? Because then if you don't, you're going to have a guy in there that can take on those big D tackles next year, because Smith is obviously pretty good 98% of the time. So,
well, why cause more issues on your O line when all you have to do right now is decide what you want to do on the right side for this year, and go get what you already know what's needed on the left side.
Right, and that's the thing is the left tackle position and right tackle position on this team have been kind of a disaster for the past 5, 6 years or so. Not consistent. Jawan Taylor, of course, is just kind of a mess of a player, paid way too much for what we're getting out of him. But left tackle, Mahomes has never had a franchise left tackle to rely on to be there for him. And every year he's having to figure out where the steps are going to be in that left tackle's drop and then, work that into his own game in the passing game. So I'd like to see left tackle get figured out this year. And I don't know if Kingsley Suamati is going to be that guy. It didn't really look like it to me. But I think that's going to be your primary focus this offseason is deciding who is your left tackle for not just one more year, but for the next 5 years. Get that figured out. And because I just think we can't have another situation where the offensive line fails for the team.
But how do you combat that? I mean, like I said, it was literally a difference of how you treated the O-line in this game here that I think any O-line would fail in that matter.
Possibly. I mean,
I don't see this just being just a Chiefs issue. I think any O-line you throw out there gets handed.
You're just saying the Eagles' defensive line is that good?
I think they game plan that well. I think they exposed where the actual holes were, unlike the Bills and whatever fake team we played in the AFC, Texans. So
yeah, the Eagles did pull a lot of twists and stunts on the D-line. I saw them doing that a lot between the tackles and ends, constantly. Almost seemed like almost every rush. It was never just a straight rush. They were constantly bringing pressure in different angles with the D-line, and it just confused them. I mean, there's got to be some. There's issues there, though. I don't know if it's communication-wise. If Caliendo's just that bad to where it just destroyed everything with the line. But I think Joe.
I don't think he's bad. I just don't think he has the strength that like a Trey and Creed have that you need in that interior or Joe, right? Even that you have in that interior. And the game plan I think was to help Caliendo out more, and I think the Eagles read that perfectly, and they really attacked out Trey and Taylor on the right side because they were both no man land the entire time because Creed was there, and you had Travis Kelce trying to freaking block somebody instead of Hendershot. You had Pacheco out there, you had Kareem out there. Like, come on, like P. Ryan was out there a bunch. Nobody was helping. Nobody was helping that right side.
So what do you do going forward with the offense? Because this was the worst year under Mahomes from a yards per play perspective. They were 22nd in the NFL in yards per play this year, which was by far the worst he's ever had. How do we get this offense figured out? Do we need to bring in somebody else that can mix it up a little bit? I mean, is Andy's game plan just getting stale, or what do we got to do to get this thing going?
I think you have to look at the wide receiver room because we don't know how long Rashee Rice is going to get suspended for. I've heard anything from 4 games to 8 games for next year, but I think you need to look at wide receivers, especially if we're saying that KELCE is going to take a big step back in the offense. So we need to decide if we're going to re-sign Hollywood Brown or do we need to draft another wide receiver. But for me, offensively, we need to take a look at who's going to be catching all those passes next year and see who can get better separation when you go up against a defense like Philadelphia. I mean, you guys talked about the offensive line. I mean, well, we had a patchwork offensive line that looked perfectly fine against almost every team in the league, except for the Eagles. But we don't care about all those other teams. We got to get better so that we can get back to this spot next year. I mean, when I look at the big picture, it's kind of like, are we going to be doing this every 3 to 4 years? Are we going to have a Super Bowl where Mahomes just gets pummeled and we don't really know it's coming until the Super Bowl, and then we revamp the offensive line again? It kind of feels like it's clockwork. Maybe it is, and that's fine. We can do that, but and it's not easy to have like a really good offensive line, like year after year after year. But I wish there was some way that we could just get, like a solid left tackle that we could depend on for just pay the dude for 4, 5, 6 years. And at least that would at least give you that position that you.
We were pretty close to doing that, but now he's on the Bengals. So, and we saw where that was going towards.
Yeah, well, I'm not talking about guys like him. I'm talking about elite level left tackles, which are not easy to come by. But, at some point, you got to think about paying one of those guys.
And we've drafted, 4 tackles, right? Wanye. We've drafted, I think, 4 tackles in the last 5 years.
Yeah, you got Kingsley, Wanye Morris. I know we drafted a guard and a center this past year.
Yeah, I can't remember what the list was, but we're missing, man. We're missing big on these tackles. Do you go out? But do you go out and get a first round tackle this year, or do you go out and sign a veteran for 2-3 years and go with that?
That's what they keep doing over and over again. They've got 5 left tackles and 5 Super Bowls. It's been a different one every single time.
You've drafted. You keep switching out. I think we just need to lock somebody down like we did Taylor for a couple of years. I don't think you need a 6-year freaking contract, but he'll give me a 2-3 year guy that you feel like you would feel comfortable with that would be there and go from there.
That's the one thing, everybody's trying to compare Brady to Mahomes these days. And it's just kind of that's the one thing that Brady almost always had was continuity on the offensive line. And he was comfortable with his offensive line. Whereas Mahomes gets screwed over every third.
Whoa. Hey, now let's not just put the blame on the Super Bowl on just the offensive line. Mahomes has some horrendous throws there with opportunity for advancement to build some momentum here. He did not play well at all either when he did have a little bit.
But we're talking about how to fix the team, Tanner. We're not going to do anything about Patrick Mahomes.
I'm just telling you. Let's not throw the blame all there. There's plenty of blame to be thrown his way this time around. Unlike
what I will throw out there to me is the idea of the Chiefs did this with Alex Smith 10 years ago. We brought in this guy, I think his name is Chris Alt, and we basically started running the pistol offense with Alex Smith. And it was somebody that, they wanted to match well with what Alex did well, is what Andy Reid was trying to do. And he was a consultant to help teach Alex Smith how to run the pistol offense. And I think the Chiefs need to open their mind a little bit and maybe look into different schemes, look at the different ways to develop their game plan, because I think that what we saw this in the Super Bowl was a lot of stubbornness from the game plan that was put together originally. Running a bunch of deep routes when you don't have time to run deep routes. There was no screen passes that were developed correctly. The underneath stuff wasn't working. There was no quick slants.
Well, yeah, the execution
no shallow crosses.
sucked.
Instead,
you were throwing behind the receiver every single
routes.
time. So none of your game plan's gonna work if you can't get the ball to the receiver where it should be. You're screwed game plan wise, right? So yeah, maybe you look at having an advisor come into play, right? There's a few guys out there right now. I'm sure we could look at that got canned, but I don't know, man. I don't feel like you need a huge overhaul after this game, because obviously you just came off back-to-back Super Bowls wins.
So what do you do different to beat the Eagles next year if that's the case?
Yeah, make sure you have an established line first off, right? But it's also established game plan. You just got to be better. I don't know. You got to be better. You got to be better offensively, and that means Mahomes as well has to be freaking better. Because those missed throws to KELCE, that behind the pass to Hopkins, I mean, those are blown momentum killers.
Do you guys think that Andy was just afraid to run the ball because we had 7 total rush attempts by players not named Patrick Mahomes? Do you think he was just scared out of his mind to even start trying to run the ball?
I don't think you could get I think he saw that you weren't getting momentum with the push. There was no push interior because Creed was helping Caliendo so much. You were playing with 3-4 offensive line out of 5. There was no reason to run the ball because there was no chance of doing nothing. The few times you did, what happened? Right? It's just the opportunity wasn't there. The opportunity wasn't there, and we didn't help ourselves offensively to making that opportunity there. So
yeah, a lot of that, Jason, was just game script and the way that unfolded because getting behind the 8 ball so quickly. Once the score went to 17-0, I mean, and Andy Reid already doesn't like to run the ball that much anyway, historically. Once that game was 17-0, at that point, you can just kiss the idea of running the ball goodbye. Yeah. I mean, and that happened so quick that the Chiefs only had run 10 plays in the second quarter by the time that score was already out of hand. So the Chiefs just felt like at this point, all right, let's throw the ball 50 times and see what happens. And I will say, Kareem Hunt, what he did this year was awesome. I mean, him being a part of this team was fun to see, and I was happy to see him do great things at the goal line, especially. Pretty reliable, guy that's never going to turn the ball over, and he stayed consistent and true to that as himself. But the Chiefs need some explosiveness in the running back position again. They need somebody with a little bit of speed, somebody that can get to the second tier of the defense, get past the linebackers, and from there, get you 25 yards every once in a while. Because I mean, it's been sad the last few years to just not have a breakaway guy that's capable of doing that. I'm not saying you need Jamal Charles. That'd be great to have, but somebody that's able to break some long runs would at least help push back some of the safeties a little bit more.
Is it drafting somebody running back wise again? Is it going out and get a free agent and paying him? But like who else is out there with that kind of potential?
Well, this is a pretty decent running back class for the draft. I mean, I think you can always grab one in the third round or so and try to make something out of it. But I, obviously not interested in paying a running back to come join the Chiefs unless you're talking about the Chiefs had their chance to get Saquon Barkley. In fact, in the last offseason, that didn't happen. An elite talent like him or Derrick Henry would have made sense to pay. But in general, with the rest of everybody, the running backs are in this league, you just got to draft and develop. And the good thing about running backs, I've always said, it's an instinctive position. And so that's why you see so many guys come in as rookies and right away make an impact. It's different from playing tight end and some of these other positions that take time to develop, or defensive end, running back, you can come in as a 21-year-old and immediately light them up. And so just give me the rookie, give me somebody with some speed. And I think that would be nice to have in the receiving game out of the backfield, something we did not do this past game, is try to get the running backs involved in the receiving game. And, Tom Brady always had great receiving running backs between James White and Kevin Falk and Danny Woodhead and all those guys. But yet with Mahomes, it's like we never give him that chance to have a great elite receiving back.
I mean, would you go out and get a guy like Aaron Jones or Najee or Nick Chubb, Javonte, J.K. Dobbins? We saw him improve this year.
I've heard that Devontae Freeman is still available.
he's still there. He's still there.
Bring back.
I mean that's kind of your main guys though. Like right now, if you're looking at just big name free agents, in that matter, Aaron Jones, Najee, Nick Chubb, Javonte, and J.K.
Aaron Jones.
Agabala was also.
Aaron Jones is going to want a nice contract from somebody. He's getting older too. I think he's like 30 years old now.
Yeah, he's 30.
I don't know if you pay him. He had a pretty good year, I'll say, again, Minnesota, but I'd rather not.
He did. None of those guys interest you, though?
No, I'm ready for the draft, man.
See, I'm not doing draft talk until March 1st, man.
That's fine.
This is dead period for me, right? For football. We got better things right now than draft for the moment, so.
Yeah, I'm just saying that's my mentality is looking forward to what kind of prospects the Chiefs could be targeting in the draft and just building on what we currently have. So
yeah, that's fair. I get that.
That's all. But yeah, free agency starts in a month, and that'll be exciting for us to dive into as well. So
that it will be.
The NFL Combine, isn't that coming up in like a week?
Yeah, that's next week.
Dang, that's insane.
It's how quick a turnaround it is, right, from the Super Bowl. And if they push back because if they add that extra game, well, now you got a combine you have to push back now a week after the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get someone to break Xavier Worthy's record. Who knows?
I can't wait to see which big name quarterback is going to have the biggest arm and the most impressive, and then become Anthony Richardson 3.0. So
yeah, that was easy to predict.
Those are my favorite.
Yeah, I think when you complete less than 50% of your passes in college, it might be an issue in the NFL.
You might have a little issue.
Yeah.
NFL never stops. Well, it stops for me. So
I agree with that. We're not talking Royals today, but pitchers and catchers do report.
They did.
So,
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll see
first
how that
game. First game for them is 21st February. If you guys want to focus in on that, so it'll be nice to see some of that going around.
Yeah,
Spring's around the corner now.
do you so we did our do you have our wrap up of our easy money picks for the
Yep.
season?
I got it here.
Final stats look like for us.
Well, all right. We'll break it up. Let me do this here for playoffs here, and then I'll give you your final totals. Then after that,
Why don't you tell us what happened last week first? Because I got.
I will.
On that deal.
Don't worry. I'll make sure you get your stuff, Jason. Last week, guys. Last week here. Hey, everybody got one win at least. So congratulations to us, right? We all got one win. So JG out here had KELCE anytime TD. Obviously, we know what happened there.
That's why he's washed. That's why I told you he's washed.
Oh, that's why. I knew I had to do something there. But you also had the Spurs plus 1.5 versus the Magic, and they only lost by 1. So you got that cover on that one. So they lost 111 to 112. So congratulations on that cover there. So that puts you at 2-2 for playoff territory. And that brings you to a total of 7-12-1 for the season.
Oh,
He kind of made a comeback.
Yeah,
that was an epic, dude. That was an epic comeback.
Hey, he started making his comeback back in November 20th. He had Baltimore with the win, Washington with the win, 49ers with the win. Ended the regular season off with a loss with Atlanta. Started the playoffs out cold as well. Washington Lions over 55.5. Did not get that. But then he had the Bucks -5 versus the Heat. He had the Spurs plus 1.5. And the KELCE anytime, of course, with the loss. But, I mean, that's what it took to get back closer to that 500 mark. So, yeah, not bad.
I do have a game plan to get back on track for next year. And Mike is conning me into start betting on table tennis.
Yeah.
So I think that's what it takes for me to turn it around, is just go a completely different way here.
You need to do 50 bets a day on table tennis. So you can build your bankroll that way.
Unreal.
I'll use the D. Allen Bear.
Yeah,
that'll get me to where I need to be.
Yeah, dude, you'll find your favorite tennis player, table tennis player.
D. Allen Bear system. Y'all can just Google that.
D. Allen Bear.
Lord of mercy, dude. Mike, on the other hand, went 2-0 last week, so he finished just the playoffs 4-1. He had the Karlaftis .25 sack. He had 1 sack. And the Chiefs Eagles over 48.5. So
yeah, that over was easy.
Yeah, oh yeah. And I knew, like, while I was sitting there, I was like, oh yeah, no, we're gonna have garbage time points here shortly, so
yeah,
we'll be all right for the over.
I watched a guy on YouTube. It just popped up earlier for me. This guy bet like $10,000 on the under of the game. Yeah, man, yeah, he got whooped on that one. I don't know why he thought the under would hit on that game. That just doesn't make sense to me.
Garbage time points were coming. Like, let's be real. So you were 4-1 in the playoffs. That brings you to now, would that be 17-7-1? So
what is that? 70-some%?
Take that all day. Yeah. Yeah.
Like 72% maybe.
You gotta maybe do the math. That's fine. What did I say? 17.
Yeah, 17-7-1. That's my best year since we started doing the show.
Wow.
Best year in 5 years. Now I've always had pretty good numbers, but this year in my easy money picks,
71%.
71.
Yep.
Yeah, I should have gone full-time pro sports bettor this year. It's unfortunate I didn't start throwing out $5,000 a game.
I was like, if you're throwing out $5,000 a game, you probably could have gotten away with it with your 1 time a week. So, yeah, probably could have. Myself here, the only one I had was Xavier anytime TD, which I felt was pretty easy on that one. So, but I had KC over 25.5 team points. Obviously, we did not get that one. And Jalen Hurts under 211.5 passing yards. Did not get that one. Brings me to 5-4 in the playoffs, which brings me to, that would be 31-25-1. So
that's not bad. What do you at, like 58% or something?
Yeah, what is that?
I don't know.
25 there. 56. Okay. So that would put me at, what did I say, 31.
Yeah, 31-25.
So that put me at 55%.
55%. Yeah, still pretty good.
I'm above 50. So that's what I was compared to last year. So yeah. So that means.
So as a group, are we close to 60 this year?
Yeah.
That was the goal, man. 60%. We're gonna do it one of these years.
Give me a minute while I calculate it. So
right.
you have to give me a couple here.
Even if you only get to 55, though, you're making people tons of money hand over fist. I mean, that's why we always count $100 bills on the show to show you guys that the buffoons actually know what they're doing and we can make you money. So read the disclaimer. This is for entertainment purposes only. So we're not guaranteeing anything, but we did pretty well this year, I think, as a team.
Yeah, and if someone ever met us at the casino, we could teach them how to win in other ways too.
I mean, dude, if I would have had a little bit better outcome, shoot, we would have crushed 60%, no problem.
Yeah.
So I think next year we got to be concerned about Tanner going back to his old ways and just smashing people on his college basketball bets. Maybe he's good. He might start doing that right now, actually.
Nah, we're not doing that.
Way downhill.
56%. That's where we finished at.
56. Okay.
So we finished out 55 and 44 and 3.
All right. Oh, that's not too bad. Now we have a goal to beat for next year.
If you just look it up, man, use the D. Allen Bear system. If you got to 56%, I mean, you would have made a ton of money with us.
Yep. That's how you win at ping pong betting, Jason, is use the D. Allen Bear.
Yeah. No, I plan on doing it. That's my next hobby for sure.
Yep. All right. Well, I guess that wraps up the football season side of things for us all. So that means you guys must be excited about things that are going on. Well, yeah, for now. By the way, did you guys see the Patrick Mahomes Sr. video?
The Rocker? Yeah, going against freaking Rocker. Apparently they're fighting in one of the Rowdy fight or whatever.
Right.
I guess hosted
April or whatever is what they wanted to do. Yeah,
dude, that guy's such a freaking monster. Like, why would you bother?
Yeah, I don't know if you looked into his history much, but he's kind of a roid head.
Yes.
And,
yeah, exactly.
He's got a little bit of a sketchy past as well. So I would say that's carried over to his present. But hey, so has Patrick Mahomes Sr. So both of those guys, it'll be a funny fight. I hope they put it on TV for us because it might not end well. But supposedly, Mahomes' family has been trying to talk him out of it, of doing that fight in April. So obviously, I don't think they want a clown show going on. They already have, the brother situation. They have
Jackson. Yeah.
They have the stuff that Brittany at one point, a lot of people couldn't stand her, and then you got Mahomes Sr. with his issues. I just feel like maybe at this point that Patrick would just like everyone to chill the hell out and quit with the rowdy business. But I don't mind a circus, man. I think it's funny. I love that stuff. So
it's so dumb, dude. It's so
dumb. I just want Mahomes Sr. to get his money. That's all I care about. Make some money.
That's what they're gonna do. It's gonna be like the fight over the fall that we were trying to watch that ended up being Tyson and Paul, and it was just them dancing around in the ring for however long. They didn't really do anything. Nobody ever did anything. They just danced around. So
that was fantastic.
But everyone got paid, so they made their money. So
yeah, everybody got paid. That's right.
All right, so you guys got to help me out with what's going on in the NBA right now. What do we need to know and catch
the
people?
Suns suck is what you need to know, Mike.
I already do know that they're under 500. In fact, so
they're awful.
It's a pretty bad team.
Bradley Beal just got injured, so that means they're going to get better now.
Maybe. They are playing the Rockets right now, so we'll see what happens.
They're up right now.
Yeah, but Bradley Beal is pretty bad.
When you take a guy off the court that just doesn't gel with the rest of the team, like even though that guy's a star player, the team can actually get better, and that's probably what's going to happen for Phoenix.
By the way, Bull started his first game as a Sun yesterday, so that was exciting, I guess. I mean, he played
And he
okay.
got pulled. And he got pulled.
That
Yeah, I
dude
mean,
he went to school in Olathe.
Yeah. Northwest.
Bull did.
Yeah, Northwest.
Bull did, yeah.
Man, that's
Both
crazy.
the Northwest
He
there.
started off pretty good in the game, but then as the game went on, it got pretty sloppy with him.
Yeah, they replaced him with O'Neal.
Yeah, Plum Lee was in there too.
Plumlee. I can't believe that guy's still playing.
So Tanner, we got to talk about this Mark Williams trade that actually fell through.
Yeah, what the
last
hell? What the hell,
Saturday.
Jason? You and I chatted about this on Wednesday, and on Thursday it fell through, or Friday, whatever day it was. So, like, we just got done talking about this last week.
Yeah, something happened with the physical, and
I think it was his knee. Was it knee or back? I can't remember which one.
I don't know, but the dude was playing, and it's a very rare thing to see something happen where a trade fails because a guy fails his physical while he's playing, and he was playing at a high level. So that's a very rare case of a trade falling through when a guy's playing very well like that. So now they're back. They're back at square one. So they need Lakers need a rim protector. They went out and got Alex Len. Don't really think that moves the needle for me. Mark Williams totally would have moved the needle. So I think you're back in a scenario for the Lakers where you're still looking at next year. I think right now they're at the number 4 seed, which means they would get crushed in the second round by OKC. If they can figure out a way to move up to either the 3rd or the 2 seed, then they might have a chance at making the Western Conference Finals. But that's actually their ceiling this year. And I actually think LeBron and Luka are going to play very well together. They're probably going to play well this year, but they have no shot at a championship. And so then you've got one more season under LeBron's belt. And then the question is he going to be washed? We're asking about if we think Kelsey's going to be washed. Well, LeBron might be washed by next year. So I don't know what to expect, but they got to go out and get some sort of a big man who can protect the rim for next year. Because this year, I mean, they're going to make noise, but they're not going to win anything.
Yeah, isn't report? Yeah. So he wants out of Charlotte first off and foremost, and Charlotte's also talking with the league, saying, "Hey, we're protesting this basically too." So like it's a mutual deal. And Charlotte's trying not to have to pay for it. Now they did.
I mean,
Lakers did go out and sign Alex Len yesterday, a big man there that's been around the league for a little bit, which will help depth wise, but maybe not necessarily starter wise.
So I don't know if you guys caught that comment there by Starsky, saying that he might be bought out. Mark Williams is requesting a buyout, and the Lakers could still sign him.
It's possible. I don't know, man. If I'm Charlotte, I'm not letting him go.
That's just bizarre. That's just bizarre how you couldn't pass a physical, but you were playing at an elite level. So it's almost like something, like literally something had to happen in that last game.
Well, we've seen this.
And he hurt himself.
We've seen this before. Last year or 2 years ago in baseball? Correa, that was with the Twins, was getting ready to sign this huge ass deal in San Francisco. Went to do the physical, failed it, right, for whatever reason. And then the Mets offered even more, did the physical, failed it, and somehow ended back with the Twins for not the same kind of deal, but still a deal for the year. So we've seen this before between teams where some of them do physicals different. Some people look for different stuff. I don't know. Was it buyer's remorse from the Lakers side? And they were just trying to find any kind of evidence of to get out of the deal.
No, there's no way, man. Like he was playing very well. I think he was injured earlier in the season, but he was going on a tear there for like a couple of weeks, and that's why the Lakers offered that trade. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I mean, I like Mark Williams as a player. The Mavs, on the other hand, they got screwed pretty much all the way around now
They
because
stink.
AD is injured and he's pretty much out for the foreseeable future, as is quite a few other guys on that team. So their season is pretty much over. That was like a wasted trade.
I mean, it was a wasted trade to begin with. Let's be real.
It was.
You know,
It was, but you could have justified it had the Lakers given up that second first-round pick and maybe, a really good player like Austin Reeves.
instead, they didn't. And now they're going to go from the second playing team to out of the playoffs pretty soon here.
What do you guys' like current the takes on who's going to end up winning this thing anyway? Just I know it's early, I know it's February, but like who's the best team in the league right now in your guys' opinion?
I mean,
best team.
I've been saying from the beginning, you gotta, in order to be the champ, you gotta beat the champ. So I've been riding with Boston, and Boston. You guys know I'm not a Boston fan. Like they're not one of my favorite teams, but I think that they should be the favorite right now. They have all the best players, and they've already been there and done that. And I think your number 2 favorite is Oklahoma City Thunder. And I think outside of those 2 teams, it's kind of a hodgepodge, man. It's kind of I don't really trust Denver anymore. Denver could probably knock
They've
out
won
the
7
Lakers.
in a row.
I would like to see Denver versus the Lakers again, because I think that, Denver always had their number, but now that you throw Luka into the mix, that would become a very interesting interesting series. But at the end of the day, whoever wins that series is just going to get clobbered by Oklahoma City. So,
yeah.
But I'm rolling with Boston right now. I hope I'm wrong. I mean, I hope we get a Boston versus OKC NBA Finals, and I hope the OKC can figure out a way to get it done. But definitely Boston's a favorite. I think the Warriors could be sneaky good, and possibly work their way out of that play-in. If you get the Warriors somehow out of that play-in and get them to a number 6 seed, possibly playing like the Grizzlies or maybe even the Nuggets, man. Now that they've got Jimmy Butler, I just like the chemistry that is that they're capable of having on the Warriors right now.
I think that from what you just talked about for a playing game, like that's up to Kawhi. Does Kawhi sit out more or not? So, because right now
he's so washed.
There's no other team.
Why are you worried about Kawhi?
Well, there's no other team that's going to fall out of the top 6. So, Clippers are your only potential, and Kawhi is the only reason, or not the only reason, but one of the main reasons why Harden's playing so well. So,
those teams are. I mean, when you look at those teams, they're so bad. I don't see how the Warriors don't make it out of the play-in, because you got Clippers, Wolves, Mavs, and Kings. Like, if you're the Warriors now with Jimmy Butler, how in the world do you not get to the number 6 seed? That's my question.
You don't have depth in that matter. Look, if you're talking about best team right now, and that's playing as a most complete team, that would be the Cavs. Plain simple. I know Thunder are the best team technically in the league right now, right? I'd have to agree Celtics are right there. Celtics have no reason not to repeat this year. No reason not to repeat the way they're playing. But I think the Cavs have really made a statement play lately.
They still have an elite defense too, don't they? I mean, the Cavs have been this way for a little while, 3 years maybe.
3 years, but now they're really putting together offensively as well. Garland's looking really good. I mean, this team can explode and play really anytime. I like Cleveland a lot here. I like the Celtics a lot here. And quite frankly, kind of you would consider a sneaky play at the moment just based off the record. It's that team that's won 7 in a row so far, going for 8 right now, and that would be the Denver Nuggets. I think the Nuggets here are the best team in the West. Will be the best team in the West in the end. I like OKC. I think they got some thunder, but there's days, right? I mean, right now they're getting torched versus who is that? Portland? No, Miami. Sorry, Miami, who's missing multiple people. Right now they're getting torched by them, but we've seen the Thunder get torched by teams at times here, and I think there's still enough gaps there with the Thunder. I know Chet's back and everything, but I think there's a lot of opportunities still there where they have a lot to prove in that matter. But Denver has experience. Denver has, that knowledge there how to win the playoffs. And you know what, Jason? I am throwing the Lakers in the conversation as a top 5 team in the West to be able to make it to the finals. I don't see as long as they're healthy, like we say every freaking year. But like if Luka and LeBron are healthy together, I'd give them a chance. I don't see why not. They're 6 in a row, and two of those games are with Luka. Yeah, I'll give them a chance. I'll give them a chance in that
against a bum team the other day, but the Lakers dominated.
Yeah, I bet that game. That was really
Luka's
nice.
first game. Yeah. Well, I was part of that.
How do you give the Lakers a chance to make the finals this year if you just said that Denver is the best team in the West, who typically goes undefeated in the playoffs against?
You can still give them a chance.
Who's going to match up? Who's going to guard Jokic? That's if you want a fun question to try to figure out. Who's going to guard Jokic? But do you think you're going to throw Luka? Or who's going to guard Doncic?
LeBron's going to have to probably guard him, or they're going to have to zone it with Len. So,
but Alex Len's going to guard Jokic.
Hey,
good luck with
all I'm saying, I'm going to give him a chance. I'm going to give him a chance. Okay,
they have
I'm going to
no
give him a chance.
They have no chance.
They have a chance. They have a chance. Yes, they do. Way more than your freaking Spurs will in the next 3 years. So I can tell you that much.
Hey, did you not get the memo? The Spurs are tanking again.
Yeah,
there's no
they
way.
Freaking stink, dude.
Another top pick, dude. Load up on top pick.
This is like watching the freaking Bengals year after year. All right.
Do you really believe do you really think they're the 12th best team in the West? No, they're tanking. When you have Wemby and Fox on the same team, they're not the 12th best team in the West. They are tanking to try to get another high pick.
Yeah, actually, I do think they are the 12th best team. So
they already have a shot at getting. They already have Atlanta's possible lottery pick. They could get 2 lottery picks
in the offseason. Maybe they can get Devin Booker
and
to add to it.
Still won't matter. No,
it's going to matter next year.
No, it won't. Until you get a new head coach, it won't matter.
Dude, they're like one piece away from being a super team.
Hey! I think it's time to move on, man. It's time to move on.
Oh, because he had a stroke.
We got medical conditions on our way. You guys haven't had a winning season in what, 3, 4, 5, 6 years? It's
okay.
Time. It's time. It's time, dude. It's time.
So you're saying it's time for Bill Self, basically, because he's the next man in
line. Whoa! We're talking about winning seasons here, okay? We're still in a winning season. We're still a top 5 seed in the freaking tournament. Okay, this is not the same conversation that we're having right now.
Well, what are you gonna do when Bill Self goes?
Do I need to call your brother up, man? Do I need to call your brother up and tell him what you just said?
You could tell. He already knows, man. I can say that out loud in front of him because he already knows that Bill Self next to mine.
Unreal. Nah, dude. No. It's time. It's time.
I'm gonna love it. All I can tell you is I'm gonna love it when the Spurs get 2 lottery picks this year. It's gonna be amazing.
And then they're still back in 12th place next year. So at this time,
I tend to doubt that.
How long, guys? Still after the season when Doc Rivers gets fired? How long does it take?
Ooh,
he doesn't. You think?
I don't think it matters at this point.
Well, obviously they're not going to run for a championship this year, right? So, no matter what happens, because it's Doc Rivers.
Yeah, well, I think they're going to let it play out. Then they're going to let it go until the end of the season. Then they'll probably fire him. I mean, there's no point in firing him now. You're not going to.
Well, yeah, I'm saying after the season, right? So after the playoffs, how quick do you fire Doc Rivers?
Oh, immediately. He's out of there, dude.
I mean,
he can go. He can go coach. He'll be able to go coach his 12th team after that.
Right. The Phoenix Suns hire Doc Rivers.
Oh, goodness gracious!
I mean,
well, yeah, they need it this year for
Phoenix,
the Suns. They can blow it up anyway. It doesn't matter.
I don't think Phoenix really has a coaching problem at this
They
point.
don't.
They have a Kevin Durant and a Brad Beal problem.
They have a
their
GM
right
problem. It's what they got. A GM problem.
I'm telling you right now, this is the last year of the Suns, and the next year is going to look totally different. They're blowing up that whole thing.
Oh, really? Darian Kennard won a Super Bowl?
Yeah, Tanner. He's now won 3
Damn.
Super Bowls technically.
This guy's
His
amazing.
first 2 years with the Chiefs, and then with the Eagles now.
He's the only the second player ever to win 3 straight Super Bowls.
By the way, we were talking about all the left tackles and tackles we've drafted, and he was one of the right tackles we were hoping that ended up doing nothing for us. So
Yep.
that was disappointing. But that draft class was incredible. That was part of the 2022 draft class with McDuffie and George Karlaftis and Leo Chenal and all them. I mean, I think that you can only ask for so much, and that was an amazing draft class.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, you were talking about the Suns. Have you guys heard?
Spurs stink, man.
Phoenix Suns are already trying to shop Kevin Durant for next year. They're trying to get rid of him.
That's what I mean, Jason. They're blowing it up. The Suns are ready to get rid of everybody. I think even Booker is on the table to be traded. So I think they're going to blow the whole thing up.
I just wonder how many picks you're going to get for KD this time around. That he's kind of old and washed. I mean, you might only get like 1 or 2 picks.
Yeah, he's not worth it nearly as much as he used to be. Even the price that the Suns paid to get him, I mean, he's worth half of that now. So. Oh well, it is what it is, I guess. I got my Suns jersey hanging up at the moment.
Hey, you put that sucker on right now. All right.
Hey, I'll wear it. I'll wear it on the show when we're back in 2 weeks. So
Good.
Yeah,
Good.
I would love to have Booker on the Spurs. I don't see any possible way that that's going to happen because all the Spurs care about is getting into the lottery every year. It seems like. So they don't typically trade for a superstar like they did with Fox. So I don't think they're going to do it again.
They won't do it again. They don't have they won't pay the guy. It's time to like I said, it's time to move on, man. It's time to move on. First women's head coach in the NBA is going to happen right there in San Antonio. Coming hopefully next year.
Yeah, because I mean, no.
That's who Pop said's been grooming. So she had interviews last year and the year before. So hey, first future women's head coach of the NBA happening right there in San Antonio.
I don't see it, dude. I don't see that happening.
It's time.
Yeah,
It's time for San Antonio to start winning again.
Can't wait to see how all that goes.
It's Bill Self. It's Bill Self all day long.
Shut up.
No, so then what you're going to have, Tanner, is you will have the Kansas Jayhawks men's basketball team hiring the first female coach. That's more likely to how it's going to play out.
Well, they're in Lawrence. It could be either one. I mean,
yeah,
you're not going to know. It could be gender fluid. So, it could be, depending on how it feels, it could be a boy or a girl at the time.
Jason.
So.
You could have somebody that identifies as an infant start running the team.
Yeah, no, we all know who the next head coach is going to be. We all know who the next head coach is going to be up in KU, okay? And that's like 5 years from now. And that's Danny Manning, who was in the building yesterday. So
okay, yeah, I'll give you that.
Okay.
Oh, that's true. So see, look how perfectly that works out, dude.
But JG changed his favorite team. Are you talking sexist, Starsky? You think he's sexist?
I think that's what he's trying to say.
I don't think JG's sexist.
No, he's asking me if I would shift favorite teams, like if I would just.
No, you've always been a Spurs fan. There's no shifting allowed now.
No, heck no, dude. I mean, I've been with him through thick and through thin, and it sucked when the only good player for years was DeJounte Murray. It was the only good player we had on the team.
Yeah.
No, if I was going to jump off the bandwagon, I would have jumped off when I was like 5 years old, when Doc Rivers was actually playing on the Spurs. That's when I would have jumped off the bandwagon, except that I hadn't even jumped
I mean,
on at that point because I was
You
like
you
5
had your
years old.
opportunity to jump off when Mono retired and Tony Parker and all those guys, right? So
Oh,
Tim
sure.
Duncan.
Yeah, I mean, I would have been done, man. But no, I'm a lifer when it comes to Spurs fans. So
That's
yeah,
right.
I don't care. Yeah, if you put Becky Hammond on there, I'm not going to stop rooting for the Spurs. I mean, that'd be stupid. We got
Are you gonna
Wembanyama and
protest? Are you
De'Aaron
gonna
Fox.
protest?
We got Wembanyama,
Dumb
Fox,
shit.
all the draft capital in the world. That'd be stupid. I don't care who the coach is.
I agree.
It's just please don't bring back Doc Rivers. That would piss me off.
That would man, wouldn't that be a thing for you? Oh my gosh, you probably would wear a shirt saying "Fire Doc Rivers" like right away.
He probably
Ready to
would.
go.
He would get one championship out of that roster when in reality they should probably have 2 or 3. He would get a championship out of them.
He would.
So before we get out of here, Tanner, what are you doing to protect yourself while you're at home?
Hiding out in the basement, drinking cups of grape juice. I heard that's good for you apparently, or something like that.
We call it
and-
sheltering in place. He is currently sheltering in place to protect himself.
And I got myself some whiskey to make sure I kill anything else that gets in. So
Yeah, that does help. Yeah, make sure you drink that whiskey. Drink some vitamin C with it too. That might help too. I don't know.
I'm just drinking, dude. So
it-
if it hits
yeah,
me,
well-
it hits me, and well, so it bees.
if it
So
does, you got
I
to
don't-
stay in the basement even longer.
Wow.
I don't think Tanner's going to get sick because he's sheltering in place, and I think as soon as the program's over, he's going to put a mask on. So I think he should be okay.
Yeah, that's true. The mask will work when the cameras are off. But
Oh, it works wonders, man.
Is
It
this
works
how it
wonders
works?
all day
Is this
long.
how it works? Can you guys still hear me? You guys still
Yeah.
hear me?
Tanner, I tried that one time at a gas station, and they got pissed
And they
kicked me
got
out.
mad at you.
They
So
said,
mad at
you
you.
got to wear a real mask. You can't just use
Yeah.
your shirt. And so,
You should have pulled out your underwear, put it on your face, and said, "Is this good for you?"
yeah, I don't know if I wanted to do that either, but
I don't know if you would want to do that either.
if that's what you're into. I mean, I'm not going to stop you. But
I
There
just
was
see you
some
making
crazy
a
stuff
point
back
like
in the
that.
day.
I didn't know how. I guess I didn't know how early in the morning it was, but I don't know if it matters for you.
no, all right.
Let's
Well, keep us
go.
updated on how you're doing then.
I will 3-1 Canada right now. 4 Nations is going underway. I have about 6.5 Canadian money line, Canadian first period money line. So far looking good. So against the Swedes.
I thought you were talking about something on CNN real quick. I was like, what the hell
Sorry.
is he
4
going with
Nations is
Canadian
going
shit?
on right now. So there's no NHL. It's 4 Nations. The hockey where all a bunch of stars come together instead of all-star breaks. So I think it's a much better. It's a much more productive way the NHL does for their all-star breaks at times than anybody else. So
Well, if we can all start watching the NHL, we can start talking about it eventually. So maybe we can make that a goal.
Yay, Merry Christmas. What the heck?
So
that felt
yeah,
good.
it's starting already. You start doing that, pretty soon you're going to start puking. So
The hell was that?
the hell was that? Your kid just fell down the stairs.
all right, guys. Well, if that's all we got for the day, then we'll be back in a couple weeks. And good news is we're going to have lots to talk about going forward because we're going to have NBA, baseball's rolling around. So that'll be fun. Get some other sports involved finally.
That's right. Expect us every 2 weeks going forward, guys. So we'll be back not next week, but the week after. Hopefully here in the mom's basement. In that matter, but going forward there that way, we might have some shifts here. We might meet a few times outside of the 2-week rotation. But if you go over, you hit that bell on the YouTube, it's gonna notify you when we go live. So make sure you guys like, subscribe, follow, and hit that bell because that's how you know if we're up. So
All right, guys. Well, I will see y'all on the next one.
Outro.
see you guys.